Okay, both types are lined by simple columnar epithelium. Okay, simple columnar epithelium. That should be the answer. However, the epithelial cells of the secretory portion of the apocrine sweat gland appear to be much taller than those lining the eccrine secretory portion. And then if you will shift to higher magnification, you will be able to see the characteristic color of the cytoplasm of the secretory cells of the apocrine sweat gland. So dark pink to orange. And then, do you know the reason why this is called an apocrine gland? What is the characteristic of the secretions of the apocrine glands?
Pinch off.
Okay, a portion of the cytoplasm and plasma membrane becomes incorporated into the secretions, but the epithelial cells will not die because only a part of their plasma membrane and their cytoplasm will become incorporated, will become sloughed off from their cell body. How about for the holocrine type of secretion? What happens to the epithelial cells in holocrine manner of secretion?
They will
Burst.
be destroyed or burst.
Okay, they will not burst, they will die.
Right
They
there.
will become incorporated into the secretions. So in holocrine type of secretion. And then another thing that you need to become familiar about the sweat glands is their secretory portion. Okay, the ones that are encircled right now. So they are that, not secretory, I'm sorry, ductal portion. Okay, majority of the ducts of our excretory glands are lined by simple cuboidal epithelium, not columnar. Columnar cells most of the time line the secretory portions. Ductal portions are mostly lined by cuboidal cells. And then, as you can see, aside from the epithelial cells, there is another layer of cells that are immediately surrounding the epithelial cells. They are having more or less flat configuration, and their cytoplasm contains actin and myosin filaments. So do you already know the name of these cells immediately surrounding the epithelial cells? What are the cells that normally possess actin and myosin filaments?
Smooth muscle.
Okay, muscle fibers. Okay, all three types of muscle fibers. And because these muscle cells or muscle fibers are located adjacent to the epithelium, they are called myoepithelial cells. Okay, what should be the significance of the myoepithelial cells? They possess actin and myosin filaments so that their function should be
Contract.
contract, so that whenever there is need to release sweat, the myoepithelial cells will contract. They will help squeeze out the sweat from the sweat glands, thus their presence. Now for our next slide. Okay, you are looking at the histology of what organ? Intestine. What is the epithelium of this organ? Simple
Columnar.
Simple columnar, Doc.
simple columnar epithelium. Very good. Now, what is the configuration of the glands that you are looking at right now? Simple or compound?
Simple.
Simple, because there we will not be able to see any branching in the glands that we are looking right now. And then what is the characteristic shape of the glands?
Tubular.
Tubular. The other type of secretory portion shape is acinar or alveolar. So that the complete name of the classification of this gland is Simple tubular. And then, what is the name of the cell that is now pointed?
Goblet.
Goblet.
Goblet cell.
Goblet cells.
Okay, goblet cells. Very good. Okay. Can you identify this gland? The name of this gland?
Parotid.
Very good. Why the parotid?
It contains adipose and
Aside from that, very good. There is no other salivary gland that you have studied that contains that great number of adipose cells. What should be the main reason why this gland is the salivary gland? Encircled are the adipose cells. Why do you call this gland the parotid gland? What are the two types of secretory portions? Mucus and
Serous.
serous acini. Okay, mucus acini and serous acini. How about for the parotid? What is the composition of the secretory acini? Are the acini purely serous, purely mucus, or mixed?
serous.
Purely serous. The parotid gland is the only gland, the only salivary gland in our body that is exclusively composed of serous acini. And then another important thing that you need to remember about the salivary glands is that their acini are grouped into lobules. So that outlined right now is one lobule of acini, and this is another lobule of acini, a smaller lobule of acini, and then a larger lobule of acini. Now this grouping into lobules will help us identify two types of ducts. Ducts which are inside the lobules should be called interlobular ducts or intralobular ducts.
Interlobular.
Intralobular.
Inside. Okay, inside, intra. And then this duct pointed by black arrow should be called
Interlobular.
interlobular duct. It is outside of any lobule. This question should be easy to answer right now. So this is the parotid gland, composed exclusively of secretory acini, serous acini with some adipose cells present. Okay, so we have actually discussed this picture a while ago. The pointed structure is the secretory portion of what type of sweat gland?
Apocrine.
Apocrine sweat gland. And then what is the gland that is present in this picture of the skin? Sebaceous gland. Now this is an example of a holocrine type of gland. So those cells responsible for producing oil secretions in the body. Once this gland releases its secretory product, some of these cells will become incorporated into the secretions. They will die and they will become detached from the gland. Now look at the secretory cells. Okay, notice that present in what? Present in their cytoplasm are numerous clear vacuoles. Okay, those vacuoles actually contain lipids. Those lipids do not take any of the stains that are used in the slides that we are studying. Okay, so you are looking at the histology of the scalp. The encircled structure should be called what gland?
Eccrine gland. Sweat
Okay.
gland.
So eccrine, sweat gland, or sweat gland. So either of those answer is correct. So this gland should be the
Sebaceous.
sebaceous gland. Another thing to remember about the sebaceous gland is that they are always associated with the hair follicle. In fact, the secretions of the sebaceous gland are actually delivered to the hair follicle. So the oil secretions will help maintain the integrity of the hair shaft. The answer to this question should be very obvious right now because we have already discussed this slide. So what is the predominant type of a sinus?
Mucus.
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 Mucus. And then this is the histology of the duodenum. So it is easy to identify this as part of the small intestine because of the presence of the villi. And then in the submucosal layer present is this gland, which should be specifically called
Brunner's.
the Brunner's gland. A Brunner or the Brunner's gland or the Brunner's gland are sometimes called the submucosal gland because of their characteristic location. Oh, that was the last slide shown in our quiz. Were you able to view the video presentation of Dr. Padilla on the cartilage? Oh, not yet. I'm sorry, you did not have time because nag-quiz agad tayo. Anyway, kindly check in our Telegram group section, Telegram group, the uploaded video by Dr. Padilla on the study of the cartilaginous tissues. Now, para makarecover yung majority na nabagsak, we will have another quiz next meeting. Coverage is cartilage. Okay? You are expected to get higher grades, higher marks in that quiz because there are only 3 types of cartilage that you need to study. Okay? So pay attention on the differences on the three types of cartilage and their identifying features also. So do you have any question or suggestion, not only for this quiz, but for our group?
Doc,
Yes?
good afternoon po.
Hi.
Regarding po dun sa Brunner's gland na answer sa I learned,
Quiz.
since wala pong apostrophe na punctuation, Doc ba? Pwede siya Brunner's na S, then diretso gland, ganyan.
That will be marked wrong by the iLearn system. So do not worry, I will do manual rechecking of all our quizzes. May limitation ang iLearn na case sensitive and then sensitive po sa concern na na-raise nimo. So do not
Yes.
worry. I
Thank
will
you po, Doc.
recheck all your answers.
Thank you po, Doc. Thank you po.
You're welcome. So any more question or concern? Uy, apilay dire akong pag-umangkon sa grupo. Oh, si Maram yun, Jen. Do you have any question, Jen?
Wala.
Wala. So, if there is no more question, concern, or suggestion, so that will end our Zoom meeting for this afternoon. So we will have another Zoom meeting after our quiz next meeting next Monday. And then if you would like to have a review on the glands or the cartilaginous tissues, we can have that next meeting also. Okay? So for now, we are dismissed. Thank you.
Thank you po,
Yun
Doc.
na.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you po, Doc.
Thank you,
You're
Doc.
Thank you,
welcome.
Doc.
You're welcome.